we go. Oh, dude. There we go. There we go. That fish smoked it. Oh, there we go. There's one. That's the first bass on the old trick shad. Picked up the Bucca trick shad. This is the 6-inch. You know, gotta mess around with it. Gotta see what it's about. Dude, this is a fantastically swimming bait. Comes with excellent hardware. Some nice tipped in trebles. I mean, you can see the split rings are heavy duty. Swiveling hook hangers. I mean, that's all the bells and whistles, dude. It's, I mean, just some dope ass colors. I figured I'd tie it on, mess around. We got some fog. I picked up one that's got a lot of flash, whatever color this is, and just reeling it quick and then giving it hard twitches, dude, along this grass edge. Shibuya. All right, dude, production style choppy glides, you know, otherwise known as shad glides. Generally you're going to be in that 5 to 7 inch range, maybe 8 inches. And just something that's come up recently as I've accumulated a few more over this past year. I really try not to buy any more glide baits. I have so many and I don't need any more, but I can't help myself. I keep doing it, especially because you never know, man. You never know what you're gonna get until you throw it in the water, you swim it, and you see how it works. And sometimes things click in my head like, oh man, this thing does this really well and I can use this at this lake in these situations. So it's just funny because like some of these I've been fishing for like several 3-4 years now, and some of these I just picked up within the past year and have been fishing them. So I just want to have a whole conversation about, you know, the ones that I use and why I like them, why you might want to have them for yourself and stuff. So here we go. So anyways, I'm going to start at the beginning. All right. So back when I first got into glide bait fishing, you know, these bigger swim baits, like I really started with the Megbass Battalion and the Jackal Gantarelle Jr., you know, those 5-inch bluegill baits. Those are basically my very first starting points, and caught a ton of fish on those. And then from there, I went to like a true glide bait. So my first one being, I kind of had a 1-2 punch. I bought an S-Waver 168 and a Rago Thunderhawk Cha-Cha glide. And you know, you could go, I think I got them both from Tackle Warehouse many, many years ago. And when you went on Tackle Warehouse and looked at the glide baits, there were probably 10 to 20 options. You know, there were definitely a few, but not a ton. You know, nowadays, obviously, you know, there's 100 or 200 or however many, but those were great starting points. I like them. I think they were all around. Those were great initial baits because they were all around fishable baits. They weren't really this category of like a choppy style shad glide. These baits kind of came later, you know, it was kind of later, but I would say that with both baits, you could kind of get a choppy-ish action, but it was also, you could kind of get a more like kind of slow, wider glide with those baits as well. So those were my starting points to this whole category. It wasn't until obviously later all of this stuff came into play, and so that was my start. I just want to give a caveat to that because those were great baits, man. I think I would still suggest those baits to this day, but I just think glide bait fishing, you know, production style glides have come so far that there's just a lot better stuff out there now. And I mean, you're going to pay for it, as I'm about to tell you, but I think it's worth it. So got to start with probably what I would consider maybe my favorite per se, as far as like taking all of the metrics into account from price to action, you know, to the swim and the ability, how easy it is to work and stuff. And I got to go, number one at the top is the Swimbait Republic Glideway. This is the 176 size, and it comes in a smaller size now. I haven't messed with that. I'm sure it's just as awesome as this. It just as user-friendly, you know. And it's, you know, it's a smaller bait, so it's probably a little cheaper if you're being price conscious. This is not a cheap bait. This is a 7-inch bait for $85. And but I think what you get with this bait, I think it's worth it. All right. In all things bass fishing, I truly think when it comes to gear and lures and everything, I really feel like you get what you pay for. I just do. So I'm always willing to spend the extra couple bucks because I love to fish. I'm not married. I don't have kids. This is what I like to do. I like to fish, man. That's my guilty pleasure. So it's what I spend my hard-earned dollars on. So I'm not afraid to jack a little out of the account and go all in on a bait like this. Especially this one, man. It's just what you get out of the package. It comes with the 2 little sticky weights that you can put. So I think it pretty much is kind of a floating bait right out of the gate without the weights. You know, as you work it, it's going to swim down and get down a couple feet, as most of these baits are going to do, like when you start working them. But you can add the sticky weights and get it to be more of a slow sink if you like. It comes with a spare tail. You know, don't have a tail in, but it comes with 2 tails. So you get 1 tail and a spare. And dude, just the action of this bait is just so sweet, man. It's easy to work. It's just so simple a bait to swim and chop and work, and it just gets bit. This one I've been throwing for quite a few years. My first ever spotted bass when I went up and fished in like North and South Carolina area came on this bait, which was cool to catch. It was like a 1 pound spotted bass, came and just murdered this thing. So it gets bit, man. You know, a 7-inch bait, I think at first, you know, like a 5, 6, 7, even a 5 and 6 inch glide bait seems big at first when you're not used to throwing these. But dude, a 7-inch shad style glide is going to catch all the fish in the lake. You know, maybe not every day, but I would never be afraid to throw this in lakes that I don't think have really big fish, but that I want to catch a bunch of fish in the right day, in the right time of year. These are going to get wrecked, man, and it's so much fun. But it's also, you know, when you're throwing them, you're appealing to a better class of fish. I mean, that's the whole freaking point of throwing big glide baits. So number 1 at the top, dude, got to give it to the Swimbait Republic, guys. This is an awesome bait. I love this bait. It's sick. Right, so number 2, and we're getting a hair cheaper. I think this one's like, this is $70. It's the Baitsanity Chimera Shad. And these come in a few different sizes as well. The body of this is 7 inches. I kind of trimmed the tail up. I think it's a 9-inch bait right out of the package. And this is just, I got this one recently, and this is another instance of like, I didn't need to get this bait. I had no business buying another, you know, shad glide, but I got it, and it kind of does something a little different, you know, than all the other ones do. This bait, to me, is such an awesome bait for working over really shallow grass and stuff, which, you know, if you watch my videos, I fish over eelgrass and hydrilla. All the lakes down here in Florida, if they don't spray them, you know, generally will have some kind of grass in them, and to some extent a lot of it, depending on, you know, the spray cycles. So, dude, this bait just excels in that situation. And, you know, I have other baits that do that as well, but this one just really kicks ass at it, man. So it kind of found a home for me as far as like, when I want to fish over shallow grass, I'm going to grab this one, dude. It's got the STS, the sink to suspend deal. So there is a chamber in this bait that as you do a few casts and retrieves will fill up with water. So it'll kind of have like a suspending action, you know. Before then, it's kind of a floater, but so it's a really cool bait, man. And dude, just what an awesome, another great, like super simple, easy to work, dude, easy to get chopping and moving, you know, very fluid bait, dude. I'm just always impressed by all of these big, you know, these brand name factory produced glide baits that have just sick action like this. This is another one. I put it right up there with the Swimbait Republic. You know, the Swimbait Republic one I'm going to use generally in like mid-depth and, you know, and other applications. But when I want to go super shallow, dude, this is the one I'm going to grab. So they both have game, you know. It's like it has to have both in different situations. So this is another great one. Super awesome bait, dude. Just super realistic. Just, I mean, whole bevy of awesome colors, just like the Swimbait Republic Glideway. So this is number 2, dude. This one's awesome. All right, number 3, this one is an obvious choice as far as like, this one is everywhere. Everyone knows this one, I'm gonna say, and it is the cheapest option. This is the 6-inch Bucca trick shad, and I just recently got my hands on this one. So I've just started throwing this one, and this kind of harkens into the conversation of, I feel like you get what you pay for. It's a $40 bait, you know, this size is $40. By no means is that, you know, cheap for a lure of any kind, but again, I feel like you get what you pay for. And I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. I think Mike Bucca makes a bunch of awesome, dude, his resin baits are sick. I've thrown the bull shad for a long time, man, many years. That thing gets wrecked. Such a fun bait to fish. But I will say that, like, after a very short period of time of fishing this, the front chamber filled up with water. And there's it's not going to show up, but there is still water in that. And that's from like a couple weeks ago. That water is still in the chamber. So I'm going to have to like drill a hole in this and kind of leak the water out and patch the hole to kind of, I don't know where the water's, it's not like I threw this and cracked it on a dock or anything. I've just been fishing this over grass, but I'm sure there's a way to trade this in and get it, you know, become whole again and stuff. I'm not trying to be a dick about, you know, this one not working. This is one of the things that happens with mass-produced baits. I'm not hurt about it. I'm just saying, I think I went on the internet, and it's the thing that happens with this bait. You know, it's one of the cheaper ones. And so just be aware of that. You know, make sure you go out, you use it. If it doesn't work, hopefully wherever you bought it will happily, you know, refund or replace your money, your bait, so you can have one that works. Because, dude, I mean, obviously, if you watch Tactical Bassin videos, dude, this is one of their favorites. And I think for the very short period of time that I fished this, it was not, you know, filled up with water and stuff. Because I noticed now, after, you know, once this happened, the action was definitely compromised. You know, it was not, it wasn't the bait it should be. So when you get one that's correct and doesn't fill with water and all, you know, the Tactical Bassin dudes talk about how awesome it is. And before this happened, dude, the action was really good. You know, I mean, I threw it for just a couple casts right out of the gate and caught a bass on it. So that's always a fun time. That always lets you know, all right, there's something to this bait. So again, I would, again, suggest that this bait is a good bait to go out and get. It's just a lot cheaper. I mean, it's, you know, it's pretty much half the cost of, you know, the Glideway. So if you're on a budget, dude, I would definitely suggest this bait. It comes, you know, dude, it comes with swiveling hook hangers, good hardware, good hooks. Like, it comes ready to go out of the box, man. It's a good, I think it came with an extra tail too, which is cool. So anyways, I would suggest this bait. It's just not, because I had this issue with it, and I'm really not going to go out and buy any more of these. I have enough baits that I feel like do all the things this one does. So this isn't replacing any, you know, any of the other production glide baits or any of the custom glides that I own. So, but it is a cool bait, and I don't know, give it a check out if you want. I got a dud, and it happens. All right, man, to finish off, a couple random, I would say maybe more on the sleeper end, not really talked about glides, but two that I have that I thought were cool, man. This one I've had for about a year now, and this is the EISVOGEL Avido 190. It is a floating bait, you know, same thing, 7 inches. You can see the joints set a little back. It's not a super, you know, you can always tell how choppy the bait's going to be by how, you know, how wide this joint is. And this isn't super wide. So maybe not specifically would I call this a choppy shad glide per se, but you can definitely you know, chop this bait pretty well. And it comes with two different tails. There's a long tail and a short tail. So, you know, depending on if you do want a choppier action, you can put the short tail on there and it's going to have a choppier action. Then the long tail, you can get more of that wider gliding action. As soon as I started throwing it, I was like, man, this just has a beautiful, beautiful swim to it. And like I said, you get the options to kind of mix it up with the tails. I love this bait. It was, I got you, okay, it's $50 on Tackle Warehouse because it's on sale. And that's not breaking the bank for what I think is a really cool glide bait. You know, it comes as a floater. So many people would tell you, like, if you watch all the other swim bait dudes on YouTube, man, get a floating bait. You can adjust it to sink, but it floats. Like, you can make this bait do a lot of different things because it is a floating bait. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a good deal, you know. Comes with excellent hardware. Like most of the more niche-y baits seem to come with good hardware, especially any JDM baits. I don't think this is a Japanese brand, but it is an awesome glide bait. I really like this one. They have a lot of cool colors. I got this crazy ass color. I was like, why not? You know, it's kind of what sold me on picking up another glide bait that I didn't need. But once I started throwing it, dude, this one's awesome. I really like this bait. It's a great swimming bait. Again, really easy to use, really easy to work. So this one's a good one. All right, man, last one. This is probably a very random dark horse glide, but I've had this one for many years. I've caught a lot of fish with it. I think it's an awesome bait, and that's the Kaesu KRK. This is the 165 size. So there's a bigger version, a 205 version. Again, man, this bait, maybe not the, you can see, like, it's not, again, the tail's not super tipped over. It's not a super choppy style, like, you know, shad glide per se. But it is, you know, it has plenty of good chop that you can get it going. And, it, you know, or you can kind of have those nicer, wider glides. And just a cool-ass bait. What makes this bait cool, again, it comes as a floater. But with the package, you get 8 little beads that come with it. 4 are weighted and 4 are just like dummy beads. And they fit in this little slot here. You pop this little plastic piece on the chin. If I can pop it. It's been a while since I popped it, but yeah, you pop that out, and then there's a little chamber here that you slip the beads in, and it fits 4 beads. So whether you want all 4 of the weighted beads to weight it, or you know, some mixture of the two. So obviously, depending on what your combination of beads is going to be the sink rate. So very adjustable bait right out of the gate without even adding sticky weights or anything, which, you know, you can add to later or whatnot. And it's just got a really good, same thing with all the other ones, man. Just a beautiful swim, beautiful gliding action, super easy to use. Maybe, dare I say, maybe not the easiest of the bunch that I've mentioned today to use, but it isn't that. It's a great bait, man. I kind of like this aspect too. It's an all plastic bait. Like the tail just has these different fins on it. So there's no brush tail or plastic tail. There's nothing to get messed up. This is a bulletproof, fully plastic bait. There's no tail to get messed up or replaced. And that's kind of cool, man. You know, it's stored in a plastic box. Like, oh shit, see, you drop it on the ground. Like, these things get beat up, man. The tails get jacked up. They get ripped. And so also, ooh, I didn't even notice that, man. You know, it comes with a little deal on the back so you could maybe hang a grenade weight or whatever back here. I don't know. Or, oh, you know what? This is a JDM brand, so I bet that's for putting a little, if you want to put a little blade on there, these guys, they're always messing and tinkering. So that's kind of what that would probably be for, you know. Good to have options, man. I really like this bait. I still throw it. It's still in my box. I pick it up and I toss it around several times a year. This is a great bait, dude. This is a fun one. All right, man. So every bait that I mentioned, you know, pretty much every, you know, standard shad glide is going to be in that 2 to 3 ounce range. So that's, you know, there's a million companies that make specifically like shad glide rods, dude. I got the what is this? The Workshop, the LDC. God, man, I can't even think. The Lowdown Custom, dude. I love these. These are kind of a custom shop swim bait rod. I think they're out of California. Not the easiest ones to get, but this is the medium light Workshop. And if you go on their website, dude, this rod is usually available. And I would tell you, I love all their rods. I throw my bigger, like, you know, K9s, bigger shad glide, whatever, on a LDC rod. I've fallen in love. They got the spiral wrap guides. I don't know what that does, but I love it. I love a spiral wrap guide now, dude. They're awesome, dude. There's just something about these rods that are just beautifully done, and I love this rod. So 1/2 to 3 ounces, you know, so whatever parabolic shad glide rod you have that'll throw up to 3 ounces is perfectly capable for these baits. You might want to, you know, at least a 7 gear ratio, maybe an 8 if you really want to burn them and stuff, but 7 gear ratio reel gets the job done. So the point is, man, all these baits, they're so much fun to fish. 7 inches isn't that big of a bait at the end of the day. Once you get into like throwing bigger baits and realizing, dude, that 1-pounders will eat a 9-inch bait, as you know, I've had 12-inch bass eat 9-inch baits, you know, like they're savages, dude. They're absolute animals. So go out there, throw some shad glides, man. Pick one up, give it a toss. It's a fun time, dude. And the whole point, you know, you will have days where you catch numbers and it's so much fun, but the whole point is that you will catch some bigger bass, tossing those bigger baits around. So hopefully that helps, man. Any questions, throw them down in the comments. I'm always happy to talk about throwing some swim baits. I love throwing swim baits. I don't tournament fish, so swim baits is what I really got into as far as the overall realm of bass fishing. Like swim bait fishing is what I love about it. So anyways, hit me up, let me know, tell me to suck it, who cares, whatever. Thank you.